Police say 15-year-old Corriann Cervantes was mutilated, assaulted, and murdered, possibly as part of a ritual related to the occult.
You know the things that you do with the curtains in the apartments? He got those, and then he stuck those inside of her. He's like, I did it all the way until I felt it. I felt her insides breaking.
I think the most brutal homicide that I've made in my 7 years in Houston homicide.
The brutal murder of a teenage girl.
A wonderful girl.
The beaten body of 15-year-old Corriann Cervantes.
Always smiling.
Discovered in a vacant Clear Lake apartment over the weekend.
Talk to us. Stop this lying. Save yourself.
That's when I just put my bed around like this and I put in the loop.
He has the audacity to write someone and say, I stabbed the hoe 60 times. She was not a hoe!
And though I try to get away, I know the devil is on his way. I made no deal, but the devil's got my soul.
A 15-year-old girl's eyes were gouged out and an upside-down cross carved into her flesh, all because of two boys who wanted to make a deal with the devil. This is the heartbreaking case of Corriann Cervantes. Hello, my name is Holly. Welcome to the Murder She Shed, the place we discuss rarely told true crime, right here from my little she shed. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, you know, the one down there, so you can find this nerdy Southern gal again in this big YouTube world. A girl can get lost in here, and I often do. So please, just help a girl out. Also, I'm very happy to be back from my trip. I went to Arkansas. I went to the Steel Horse Rally. I don't know if all you know, but me and my husband both have motorcycles. I have a fat boy. That didn't sound right. My husband's not fat. I have a fat boy Harley motorcycle. I'm not calling my husband fat. But anyway, we had the best time, but I'm glad to be back to make a video for you today. This is a rough one, but all mine really are. So let's get right into this case. February 9th, 2014, Arturo Flores lived in the Bay House Apartments in Houston, Texas. Woke up at 2 a.m. that night and couldn't sleep. He decided he would go to a vacant apartment room he knew about and smoke some weed. He had done this many times before, and so had other teens that lived in these apartments. He walked straight in. All he could hear was the water dripping out of a leaky faucet. Otherwise, the room had an eerie quietness about it. The apartment had no electricity and no lights and was very cold inside. He shined his phone around because he smelled an unusual odor. Near the closet, he noticed a body on the floor. It appeared to him that the body was a woman with her eye gouged out, and blood was located everywhere around the closet where her body was laying. He freaked out and ran to the apartment of two brothers he knew who lived in that complex. The two men worked as IT engineers, and their job kept them up late at night. They were playing video games and probably wasn't expecting the knock on their door that they were fixing to get. And it would change their whole life because what they would see would be very upsetting. And I can't imagine how you could get over this. So Arturo knocked on the door around 4 a.m. appearing scared and distraught. Arturo repeatedly told them that he badly needed their assistance. And he kept saying, she's hurt bad and she needs help. One of the men was ex-military and the other had some CPR training. So they decided to go help. Arturo led them to the vacant apartment, and when they arrived, Arturo stayed outside, still visibly upset. One brother used a small flashlight to illuminate part of the living room. Inside, he saw a woman on the floor, but she did not move or respond to his verbal commands. He went into the apartment to see if she had a pulse. When the man approached, he described her as not having a face. There was broken porcelain everywhere from the toilet tank lid and blood all over the walls. He started to check for a pulse, but she was ice cold, so he backed out of the apartment and called 911.
Here's a paramedic. What's the location emergency?
Yeah, I found a lady. She looked deceased. She was in a vacant apartment. Looks like she's been assaulted. I'm not sure exactly what happened. The name of the apartment is the Bays.
She's not awake?
She's not. She is cold as ice, and I could not find a pulse. So I think she's deceased. It looks like there's the toilet bowl lid thing, for the back of the tank, is smashed up all over the place. And I think that might be what they used to whatever. I don't understand how anybody on either side of this vacant apartment didn't hear a damn thing. This is ridiculous. She has no clothes, so I don't know if she has any identification.
Okay, you see any tattoos or anything visible, or?
No, ma'am. She does have looks like a scar on her. No, I can't tell if that's a scar or not on her chest. It could be blood.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the hell happened in here, because there's a closet right next to where she's at, and there's blood all over the inside of that closet.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure what happened. She doesn't look like a squatter, though. She looks like somebody who's been taken, had a place to be.
I'm here with you.
Yeah, I heard him coming down the street.
You hear him? Okay.
When police arrived, they found the body naked from the waist down, with a Rob Zombie t-shirt on and a black bra on top of the t-shirt. Because of the extensive trauma to the face, a forensic odontologist was called in to assist with the ID of the body. Using dental records and x-rays, the forensic odontologist identified the body as 15-year-old Corriann Cervantes. It was still dark outside when the crime scene investigator arrived. The apartment showed no sign of forced entry. Photographs taken by investigators showed that Corriann's body lay within sight of the front door. Capri pants and blue panties were found nearby. Around the body, the crime scene investigator observed the remnants of a porcelain toilet tank lid that had broken into numerous pieces. A small half bathroom on the first floor had a toilet without a tank lid. A small coat closet located under the stairs had one black shoe in it, and evidence of a blood-letting event. The crime scene investigator believed the first part of the events occurred inside this closet because of a blood stain on the sloping ceiling that appeared to have been made by blood-soaked hair, consistent with Corriann's head having struck it. The crime scene investigators observed cast-off blood stains on another part of the wall, consistent with Corriann being outside of the closet, while someone repeatedly hit her with a large object. Someone had also drawn an inverted cross in the blood on the wall in a pentagram in pencil. The officers knew what torture Corriann had been put through in this room was the work of pure evil. This little girl had been tortured by a monster or monsters until she had died. Corriann Cervantes was born April 2nd, 1998 in San Jose, California, and was a sophomore at Clear Lake School in Houston, Texas. Corriann was being raised by a single father with help from an aunt. She loved to sing and had a voice of an angel. Corriann liked to help others who were in need. She made friends easily and went to church. She enjoyed photography and always could be seen with a smile on her face. Lately, though, she was really struggling because her parents had just divorced. It had been really hard for her to deal with this situation. On February 4th, 2014, Corriann skipped school. When Corriann's father found out, he grounded her and told her to stay in her room for the rest of the day. Corriann became angry, like any other teen, and left home after her father went to buy groceries. Corriann decided to go meet her friend Randy in a parking lot close to the apartment building where she lived. She and Randy then went to a nearby apartment complex so that Randy could buy a Xanax pill. Randy took the pill and he and Corriann smoked weed together. Corriann and Randy later met 16-year-old Victor Alice and his cousin Franklin Flores in the parking lot. The teens obtained more pills, but Randy refused to give Corriann any because he did not want her to get all messed up. Around 4 or 5 p.m., however, Randy eventually agreed to give her just half of a pill. Then around 5 or 6 p.m., the teens smoked more weed. Because they had gotten cold, they decided to go to the apartment of a woman they knew. Her name was Candy, or Candy in court records. That's not her actual name. Candy was a middle-aged woman who lived in the apartment across the road from Corriann's apartment. Recently divorced, Candy was a 47-year-old nurse originally from West Virginia. A few months earlier, she ran into Randy and his friend Jose REYES in the apartment complex laundry room. It was cold and dark and they said they had nowhere to go. Randy needed to charge his cell phone to call his mom, so Candy invited them to her apartment. That's when the friendship began and how they learned they could go to her apartment and do whatever they wanted to, basically. Over the next few weeks, Jose, Randy, and their friends started going to Candy's apartment once or twice a week to hang out, drink, and smoke. This apartment complex was called the Bay's House Apartments. When Randy, Victor, and Corriann arrived on February 4th, they continued smoking and Candy joined them. Candy also offered them some hard liquor. Randy saw Victor drinking liquor, and although he did not see it, Corriann might have had some, he thought. Candy thought that everyone drank that night, and they were all drunk. But according to Candy, Corriann had the most to drink. Candy agreed to let Corriann spend the night at her apartment because Corriann claimed that her father would be so mad at her if she came home drunk. The teens remained at Candy's until around 9 p.m. when 17-year-old Jose REYES showed up looking angry and demanding to see Corriann. By that time, Corriann was asleep in a bedroom because she was pretty messed up. Jose and Victor, who were friends, went to the bedroom to find Corriann. Not long after that, Randy left Candy's apartment because his mother had come to get him. Candy became upset that the boys were in her bedroom, and she asked them to leave so that she and Corriann could go to sleep. But Corriann said that she actually wanted to go to her friend Jocelyn's apartment, which was in Candy's complex. Candy asked Corriann if she was sure, and Corriann said that she was. Candy did not want Corriann to go along because she was so drunk. So Victor and Jose offered to take Corriann to Jocelyn's apartment. Too bad she didn't go by herself, and she might have actually made it to Jocelyn's apartment. Jose and Victor were last seen helping Corriann down the stairs. Jose and Victor had been friends for a while. Jose would often brag that he had sold his soul to the devil. In the kitchen, on his table, there was an upside-down cross, a pentagram, a 666 carved or written onto his table. He was very interested in satanic rituals and satanic beliefs. Victor was a follower and not a leader and wanted to be included in Jose's satanic rituals they had discussed in the past. Corriann would soon become a part of their sick ritual. Instead of taking Corriann to her friend's house, the two boys took her to the vacant apartment. Jose and Victor said this is when the consensual threesome began. But considering that Corriann was so drunk and high she was falling down, I don't believe that could be called consensual. You don't have your wits about you. You can't say yes or no to anything at that point. You're just kind of out of it. At some point during this encounter, Corriann bit Jose's privates and this angered him. After this, Jose and Victor began discussing the satanic ritual, and Jose told Victor if he wanted to be like him, he must help him end Corriann's life in order to sell his soul to the devil. While Jose was Corriann, Victor took his belt off and began choking her until she turned blue. At this moment, he lost his courage to finish the act and released the belt. After she recovered from this attack, they began beating Corriann with the curtain rods they had found in the home and also hitting her with an ashtray. Each one had a rod and was beating Corriann on the abdomen, pelvis, and legs. She got up and tried to run out of this apartment. She almost made it to the door when Jose clotheslined her with his wrist and arm and knocked her down. Corriann asked them why they were doing this to a friend. Jose said, "We are helping us to save our souls." At this point, Jose and Victor were like two sharks in a feeding frenzy. They went this far and were so wired up by the moment that they could not stop. Then Jose grabbed the toilet tank lid and bashed Corriann on the head with it. He hit her so hard that the lid busted, but they then grabbed the busted pieces and began hitting her with those. There were pieces of porcelain embedded into her face. She was hit so hard. Jose picked up the curtain rod and jabbed it into Corriann's right eye. So much force was used that the rod went through 3 sets of bones. Jose then took those curtain rods and stabbed them both up her back private area until he felt her insides breaking. It was later learned that he stabbed the rods 19 inches inside her. The rods went into her abdomen and almost into her chest cavity. One rod with the hook on the end went through her liver and stopped just before her rib cage. The second rod went almost to her waist. Amy believes she was still alive when this occurred. It is heartbreaking, the torture she felt from this. I can't even imagine the pain. Death came when both boys used a screwdriver to stab her all over her body, including her face, 61 times. They even continued stabbing her after she was already dead. The tool punctured Corriann's jugular vein at least 4 times and pierced her right carotid artery so deeply that it almost reached her spinal column. During the autopsy, additional trauma was found consistent with sheetrock that was inserted into the opening of her vagina. ME could not conclusively determine whether the cause of the trauma was consensual or non-consensual sexual activity. But if it was consensual, this would have to have been rough to cause the trauma, he said. I'm going to say that was definitely non-consensual because what girl would think sheetrock would be a fun thing to do? I mean, definitely non-consensual. That is disturbing. There was a carving on Corriann's abdomen that occurred after her death and was consistent with being carved using a screwdriver. It was a large inverted crucifix that was carved into her skin, which occurred after her death. There was also satanic items placed around her body. After the boys murdered Corriann, Victor was able to catch a ride to his home, but Jose slept all night in that vacant apartment with Corriann's dead, bloody body. Since Jose wouldn't quit bragging about what he had done, he was quickly identified as one of the killers. The morning after the murder, Leo, a close friend of Jose's, received a message to pick him up at a Kroger grocery store not far from the crime scene because he was still over there with her dead body that morning. But now he wanted a ride home. I think it's sickening why he would stay all night. What was that about? Did he continue to SA her? Did he enjoy seeing her dead body? It's just disturbing. Leo and his girlfriend Miranda drove to the Kroger. Jose looked pale and said he had hit a lick the night before. They took that to mean that he had robbed someone. Jose also complained about his wrist or arm hurting and his hand appeared swollen. Jose asked Leo what he should do with his clothes. They appeared to have blood on them, and Leo assumed it was from the robbery. Leo told him to throw them away, and he watched as Jose threw his clothes in the apartment trash. Later in the afternoon, Jose, Leo, and some other friends were rapping to each other when Jose suddenly started making up a rather bizarre rap. He rapped, "It was my first time, so my homie showed me the ropes, and we ran a train on this hoe. Then my homie grabbed a belt and started choking her, and the bitch said, 'Why are you doing this?' And we told her to shut the F up. And then we beat her, and then she tried to run, and we grabbed her and started stabbing her. And she asked us why, and we said, 'We're helping you to sell our souls.'" Jose also used the name Victor during the rap and mentioned that Victor said, "Let's kill the bitch." Leo said that the rap was a different kind of rap because Jose had never rapped that way before. As Jose rapped, everyone in the room grew quiet. Although they thought the rap seemed bizarre, they never suspected that it could possibly be true. A little bit later in the evening, Miranda was sitting on the couch with Jose when he started saying some very shocking things to her. He told her everything about what him and Victor had done in that vacant apartment, including that he had stuck curtain rods inside the girl, which he did not name. Jose showed Miranda a cell phone photograph of 3 people having sex and told her that he took this picture. The photograph showed him having sex with the girl while her head was above Victor's lap. The photograph did not show the girl's face. Miranda said that he laughed and smiled while he boasted about the gruesome acts. Miranda found Jose's story so unbelievable that she questioned it until she heard about the body that was found inside that vacant apartment on the news. 2 days after the murder, Jose also told his sister. While telling his sister, his girlfriend, who Jose had a child with, overheard the conversation. His girlfriend later confronted him about the allegations, and she asked him why. Jose answered it was because somebody wanted her soul. Jose's sister and girlfriend turned him into the police. After Corriann's body was found, Miranda also told what Jose had told her.
He explained every detail, and I didn't really believe him. He told me that he got a screwdriver, and while the other guy was like having sex with her, he stabbed her. He said he got the thing from the toilet and smashed her head with it, and he said it broke in half, and he got one piece, and he did it more. The way he was saying it, he was like happy about it and smiling and like funny. You know, the things that you do with the curtains in the apartments? He got those, and then he stuck those inside of her. He's like, I did it all the way until I felt her insides breaking.
And these are the words that came out of his mouth. You're not making this up.
No.
I was like, what'd you do last night? I was like, who was it? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't remember. It's like my hand hurts.
What did Jose tell you about the murder when y'all got to his house? You need to be truthful here, okay?
Like, honestly, I didn't believe him.
What did he say?
He was like, he said that him and Victor did something that night, and I was like, what? He's like, I can't tell you, man. He's like, me and Victor sold our souls.
Jose voluntarily provided a swab with his DNA and consented to a search of his cell phone. It took some convincing by police, but Victor eventually confessed to the murder during the police interview, although he mostly blamed it on Jose.
Know a whole lot of stuff that you don't think we know.
I'm telling you the truth.
No, you're not. We can bicker back and forth all day long, but I need to get through to you somehow. You're not going home after this, Victor. Well, let me tell you what. We had Jose sitting in that exact chair last night for an hour and a half, and he told us everything.
I didn't murder Corriann. How many times do I have to explain to y'all? I didn't do it.
Are we dealing with a psychotic psychopath that we need to put away for the rest of his life so he can't do this to anyone else? Or are we dealing with a kid that made a bad mistake and who maybe deserves at some point down the line a second shot at life? Let that sink in, because this is your one opportunity to save some part of a life for yourself and bring some justice to what was done to this girl, which is flat out horrible.
You're telling about this much of the truth, and this is the truth.
So what do you want?
What happened in that apartment? What's your version of it? Because all we got is Jose's version. And he's dropping you in the grease. He's blaming this all on you. Do you think she deserved that? You want to see the pictures?
Yeah, I think you need to take a look at what you did.
What happened in that apartment, Victor?
That used to be a 15-year-old girl with her life ahead of her. You did this.
I did not do that.
Yes, the people in court are going to see this, and they're going to know you did it. Those things stuffed into her are going to have your DNA and prints on them.
I did not even touch that. I did not even do that.
What did you do?
I didn't even touch her. I was having sex with her, and then Jose started hitting her. Okay?
And what happened?
He started hitting her with the ashtray. And then I just stood up and I started flipping out. I didn't know what was going on. I was scared. I already have an open case. I didn't know what was going to happen. I saw him hitting her with the ashtray and she was bleeding everywhere. And the first thing she does is gets up and tells me, she was like, Victor, why are you doing this? And I didn't even touch her. I'm telling y'all the truth right now. Jose started hitting her with the ashtray and I didn't even know what was going on. I just got up. I was like, what the f are you doing, bro? And then I don't know what he said. I just got up. I walked to the living room and I'm like, what the f is going on? I just started tripping. I didn't know. Jose started doing that to her.
So you're telling me that Jose did everything and you just stood there and did nothing?
Yes, sir. I was tripping. I didn't know what was going on.
That's not true. That's not true, Victor.
These are your options. Talk to us. Stop this lying. Save yourself.
After Jose started hitting her, he told me to get my belt, and choke her because she was going to say everything. I was scared. I didn't think.
So you choked her with your own belt?
Yeah.
Or a belt that you brought?
Belt that I brought.
Do you have a belt on you now, Victor?
Yes, sir.
Take it off for me.
There's my AP belt.
I want you to pretend I'm her. Okay? Show me what you did to her. You're behind her.
Yes, sir.
He's in front of you, and her. Okay, and is he doing something to her at this time?
No, he's just telling her to be quiet and to be quiet. And then that's when I just put my bed around like this, and I put it in the loop, and I just started pulling it. And when she
And did she try to resist?
no, she was just choking. She was just, I don't know, I was just choking her.
Did her face turn red or blue, or?
It turned blue, and that's when I looked at her, and then I just pulled it off. I was like, I can't do this.
Did she collapse to the ground?
Yeah, she was already sitting on the floor, and then she collapsed.
Did she talk after that, or no more talking after that?
When I took my bed off, she started gasping for air.
Why is Jose telling us that y'all killed her to sell your souls to the devil?
No, that's a lie. I did not. I did not do that. I would not sell my soul to the devil.
But Jose just made that up?
He said he was going to sell his soul to the devil, but I'm not selling my soul.
What was Jose's demeanor after y'all left the apartment? Was he happy, sad, angry?
He was saying something about how he was, like, it feels good or something, and I just my mind was in shock. I couldn't even say nothing. Like, I felt like my mouth was shut. I had no comment to nothing.
Did he tell you why he did it?
No, he never told me why he did it.
During the interview, Victor told the officers that he had discarded the screwdriver in some bushes at a nearby church. 2 police officers immediately drove to the church and located the screwdriver where he had indicated. Because Corriann had bled so much at the crime scene, it had corrupted any DNA or fingerprints from the suspects. Their DNA was found at the scene, but it was so mixed with Corriann's blood that they couldn't tell which suspect actually murdered her. The witnesses would play a major role at the trial. Also, letters that Jose wrote while in prison, waiting for trial, would also be used to convict them of the murder. One letter said, "My mistakes are my mistakes. I don't blame no one, but the thing that came in my life from the first time I sold my soul. I hope you understand it wasn't me that day. I remember everything, but I know it wasn't me. I couldn't do nothing about it because it was standing there watching me and Victor do our job the way he wanted it to be done. My life is effed up. I know that. I will come out of this situation I put myself in since day one." Another letter said something much more disturbing. "I was sick-minded stabbing that hoe 60 times. It's all good. It's what the devil asked for." Jose and Victor are both serving life. However, they are eligible for parole in 2054. Last year, Jose did an interview on the news. He can be seen fully tatted out while trying to look like a tough guy, but not having enough courage to admit what he had done.
This is what nobody knows. I took the blame because I feel like I was being a good friend.
How do you expect people to believe this? This is the first time you're ever bringing this up.
Because after 10 years, I've had enough time to sit in here and realize I'm actually not being a good friend for taking his blame. I lied to the detectives, I did, because I was covering for somebody else.
You see how I find that hard to believe, though? Jose, your own sister and your brother Omar both told police that you killed this girl.
My brother never testified, so when did I tell him? If I would have told him, why didn't he testify and my sister
Your brother texted police, "I just want to do the right thing and do what's best for him, and seeing my mom cry hurt me so bad, and I'm deciding to turn him in." He texted a police officer that.
If he did, he did.
He knew you killed her. Your sister knew you killed Corriann. And yet you're sitting here today still not taking responsibility for it when the evidence against you is just overwhelming.
Show me one evidence that says I did it. Honestly, I don't care what my sister or my brother said. I know the truth. And I'm telling you the truth. And if you decide to believe the truth, go ahead. If you don't, guess what? I still know the truth.
This went on for an hour. At no point did you think, we need to let this girl go.
What can I do?
Stop it.
How? I just told you, if somebody is full of drugs that cannot walk, how can I stop something that I can't even control myself?
But you seem to remember everything what happened that night.
I do.
So you were sober enough to remember, but drugged out enough that you couldn't stop it.
You know why I remember everything? Because I think about it daily. I think about how messed up it is.
Do you think about Corriann and what she went through and how she suffered?
I know she suffered a lot, and I'm sorry for that. And I regret that night. I regret even being there. Because I couldn't do nothing.
Do you regret what you did to her, that you let her die right there, that you were part of that abuse?
I didn't do anything. That's the thing. You're basically blaming me.
This girl who's dead in front of you, beaten to death, and you're telling me you didn't think anything of it.
What can I think?
The floor is yours.
Only thing I can think is they tripped out. I have nothing to do with it. And it's messed up.
That's cold.
It is. It is cold. But now, the way I think now, I can't think like that no more.
You knew what had happened to her.
Her blood was not in my hands.
In fact, for days she laid there, her family wondering what had happened to Corriann, and you knew, and you just continued to go on life as normal. What was going through your mind in those days?
I stayed on drugs. I didn't want to think about it. It was wrong. I should have said something.
Do you regret it?
I do.
What about that night set you off to go from having sex with her to brutally beating her?
So what you're trying to say is that I did. A lot of people have been convicted of a lot of things that are innocent.
You've had a decade to be in here to think about that night after you've confessed, after you've been found guilty, and now you're saying they got it all wrong.
Because you're the first person that ever tried to come.
Corriann, may you rest in peace, and I pray your family's doing okay. But I know you can never fully recover from the loss of a child, especially in such a gruesome way. And I know it's something that will always stay with them. I don't know where Simon is right now, but I do know he's very, very muddy. It has been raining 9 days straight here. And I don't want him on my lap. I need to go give him a bath before I take him in the house because, yeah, he's bad. He's one of the worst I've seen. Max is laying on the floor right here. I don't know. He hasn't moved. I don't think he's out. Anyway, maybe you can say bye to him next time, or I can add something on the end. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Or see you. I don't talk to you. I'll talk at you later. Love y'all. Bye.
That's it. Do you love Murder She Shed? Do you love your subscribers on Murder She Shed? Do you love your mama? Do you love your daddy? I believe that was a no.
When I was a boy, I'd have this dream. I'm at the crossroads down my street. And though I try to get away, I know the devil is on his way. I made no deal, but the devil's got my soul. He made no promises, no offers made, no silver tongue to persuade. I'd have to work for what I made, to have the devil take it away. I made no deal, but the devil's got my soul.